Okay, 1st of February 2024, Thursday, trade recap, day recap, trade review for the ES and NQ. Difficult day to read what was going on order flow wise. Really was reading the opposite of what was happening or what happened next to what I expected. Regardless, didn't hurt myself in those situations, straight out. Ended up green on green on the day, three trades, one loss, two wins. Very small, very minimal to what I had planned and how the plans actually panned out. But bogged down within the order flow and all the other things, I did not take the real good trades. And yep, let's go over my plan first, and then we'll go over what I actually did or did not. So starting with the ES, basically yesterday was FOMC, and then started the day gap down, initial push down, consolidated before FOMC, and then up and flush down, probed underneath the prior week's low, spiked underneath it, closed under the prior week's low, but only by a very small margin. So that was something that happened, and then went straight up within the maintenance session and throughout overnight. So we had 8:30 a.m. initial jobless claims, and 10 a.m. we had the PMI flash. And then the plan was rather simple. Since there was a probe underneath the prior week's low, there wasn't much continuation to the downside, even with FOMC at the back. This could trigger a failed probe of a weekly level, which could be powerful. Overnight, it has already gone 20 points higher from there. And then this was my really key main area. Spike base plus this prior week's low remains a very important level over the coming days. So this was the most important level that I had today. And then other than this, other important area was this 4900s, which basically marks the bottom of this 3 days range, which we broke out of to the downside yesterday, leaving some singles here. So this marked the bottom of the range and the breakdown area where the singles originated. This is where the singles ended, and then we had the trade during the last hour of the session, ended up in a spike. So this was my main line in the sand, like if it breaks, maybe there's something more to it. And then this was my area, like maybe the sellers keep us under 4900, this range low, sooner rather than later. We can see a little bit more downside, or like at least consolidation here. These were the main two levels for today. I had another this supply zone here, which I definitely did not think it would go up to. And this 4906 was basically around the lows of yesterday's consolidation prior to FOMC. So maybe if it probes just above the range low, the 3 day balance low, and then goes up maybe until 4906, I'll give the sellers the benefit of the doubt. And after that, there's not much that the sellers can do or will do, and that was it. The main plan for the ES, and then going towards the NQ. Similar story with NQ. How it broke down yesterday, similar to the ES, and it probed in a very important demand area. So basically, when we broke out of this month-long range, month-long balance on the last Friday, this 17 to 70 is basically the breakout zone from there. And then all of this underneath 270 is in the context of a demand zone, but the basic idea is if we start accepting underneath 270, we'll be building acceptance within this within this region which created the breakout, which is not ideal in a breakout situation, and to maintain the breakout scenario. And then when we come back to retest, the ideal scenario is just hold the top of it, do not go under, do not spend time, and build more acceptance back underneath from where the breakout originated. So this was an important level. This was all this morning, hour and a half, 2 hours almost worth of consolidation here on the 19th of January, which broke us out, put us into new all-time highs. And yeah, so this is 17 to 70, very important level today. Acceptance underneath would build acceptance in the breakout consolidation area. Not wanting to short under 270 because it's still not clear. There's so much. I would expect the price to be a little bit choppy, slow underneath. And this was basically my main and only real idea that I had in the NQ, that if I got an opportunity, I would try along for 17 to 70. Nothing to do downside. And I didn't plan for anything to the upside because even while holding 270, I did not think we'll come up to this zone where I would like to take a shot from. This is the only real, there was nothing yesterday to anchor upon rather than this, and this still not the slightly weak area, but I would take it considering it's coming from here. It's already a 200 point, almost 200 point worth of range, 175. And yeah, so that was my plan. Longs from here, most of it, and then if we get up, it's not written in the plan, but if we get up, maybe we'll try. And yeah, now let's go over what actually happened throughout the day. And so ES basically opened up right at the singles area and filled it very, very soon after the open. They tested underneath, didn't really come to the area, nothing for me to do. Come up here now. Now it's an area of interest for me, and I'm trying to see if there's something that gives me an opportunity to go short as per my plan and protect this prior balance low, the 3-day balance low. And at this point of time, like, I was looking at the order flow, but I found it really hard to judge because there was so much selling throughout the open, insane amount of selling, but there were definitely heaps of bids protecting all of it, and then there was tons of absorption, and then it squeezes up, and then at this point of time, because there's so much absorption of the sellers by the buyers, it's difficult to go short here, considering that there are such strong bids in the market at this point of time. And then there's that. Nothing much happens here. This pulls back and then it holds the singles low basically almost perfectly, and then rips back up strong. There was a decent bit of buying. Changes the negative 1k to positive 1k, closes up 800. So there was definitely some buying into it. And then at this point of time, 1025, even the wicks is pretty much, it's quite low. Definitely low in relation to yesterday. Still quite low for the day. And then price somewhat stalls here a little bit. There's no more buying coming in, but then there's decent selling coming in, 16k, 1.6k, 2.5k, but the price still isn't nudging. It's at the balance low. It's really an area where we should be protecting rather fiercely, or sellers should be protecting rather fiercely. And they try to push, but there's still bids up there which are taking all of this, and then it was very hard to judge order flow wise, like whether this makes sense or not, because you clearly have absorption here at the lows, which is in favor of the buyers. You have some aggressive buying coming in, which also is a function of the squeeze of all this negative delta. And then one thing maybe that I wrote up after reviewing my journal today, maybe something to recognize, is that how it was going up, but not that much aggressive buying. So even when it's going up, there's not that much positive delta that's building up. Still quite negative. So there are definitely bids up there that are holding fort, but there's not much aggression up there to take it higher. And maybe now that I've come back and looking at it with a fresh set of eyes, maybe there was something there to recognize that okay, that there's not that much buying coming there. And then obviously it flushed rather hard, and it went straight from the high of the day to a new low of the day, right into this very important area to protect. But this selling that came in, it was insanely strong, very strong selling. If you look at the 30-minute period, like A period -5, B period -4 almost, C period -9. That's a lot of selling to be up against and then go there and try to take a long. And that was the dilemma I was in at this point of time. And this is again something I wrote up in hindsight after I've come back with a fresh set of eyes to see why I was having such a hard time today reading the order flow. So this is what I was thinking. Yesterday order flow was quite deceiving today, very hard to read in today, which to a certain extent, at least for my level, I'll still say it definitely was. I'm not unhappy that I did not take this trade, that I did not miss this trade, because I did not understand what's going on. So until I can really find some sort of a mechanical system which takes away everything and just build something on price or volume or something like that, like whilst I'm still making decisions based on certain different confluences and order flow, like definitely looking back, it ripped up 50 points, and I had the perfect plan, the perfect area, and it worked just as it is. But I did not see it in hindsight, and it wasn't really anything emotion based or risk avoidance based. At least that's how I feel today. It's quite perplexing to me what happened this trading session. Like I really could not get a grasp on where this thing is trying to go. And given with this order flow and then wicks all just straight up on a rocket ship while this is flushing down, it was really hard to be a buyer here. But again, it's a similar situation as what happened up there, selling drying up. Because the initial bug was so intense and wicks at highs, it was really hard to be a buyer here. Then again, there's just how it was at the highs. There's not that much absorption here, but there's just no selling. It's really weak selling. Not something I recognize because I kept on looking at all of this selling that brought us here. I missed the fact that it's not selling anymore, or there are no more sellers who are willing to break this and take us down. And a quick little test almost to the take of the level, push right back up. And again, I was looking at the wicks and he's still holding near the highs, still holding this, still supporting this resistance now that we are above it. And really, so I kind of wanted more time to assess if the plan will actually come into fruition, but obviously it just ripped up, it squeezed real quick, real hard. Like there was only an entry point somewhere here when maybe some things were against all the selling, the wicks. So the confluences that I would usually like to align, they did not align. and I did not end up did not end up taking this trade, and it just ripped higher, and it squeezed from the low of the day to a new high of the day, which is absolutely insane. So from high to low, and then from low to new highs, it's just not something. Not that if I was in the trade, I would have taken all of this. Not Never happened. Probably have got here somewhere, but regardless, something to learn today, at least in the Oracle point of view. It's not just about absorption. Sometimes there's nothing to be absorbed. I think that's my lesson for today for the reading order flow. And yeah, that was the ES. And I did not take any trade in the ES today. Maybe there was this opportunity here with a break, beautiful break, and retest of this level, retest of the high of the day. But again, I really wasn't sure where this thing wanted to go, because now even after breaking the level, the sellers they try to they're really there. They try to press. Obviously, I can see they're not getting much, but then they press, and you see this aggression, or like sharper sort of pullbacks. So even when it breaks the level, 6K turn into 4, 7K turn into 3. So there's definitely some sellers out there, and then they're pretty much at the top today. Usually you'll find them, all of them at the bottom, and then they squeeze hard. But today they're at the top. A little bit of nuance. Obviously they end up squeezing, and the level holds really well. I definitely did see this while it was happening, but I decided not to take it because I just did not know where else would we go, because we have already had a range of 45 points up until this point of time. So from here to here, we are at 45 points worth of range, and then we come back. I'm just not sure. I'm definitely not expecting a push up to this, given the fact that the selling yesterday was FOMC. We did break down. We had a gap that we held yesterday, and so kind of my intraday read and my expectations that took me away from my levels, and put me in a place where, in hindsight, it obviously all of it makes sense, but on the hard right edge, the spectrum of opportunity seemed something different. That's how I think I can put it best for today, at least for the ES. Now going over to the NQ, really clean plan. But what ended up happening, so basically right at the open, we test this area where I want to belong at, and then I missed this initial trade, but I missed this initial trade because I was not ready on time. This is something unacceptable. It has never happened before, and it will not happen again. So the trade came in at around 9:31, and yeah, I just wasn't ready at 9:31 to take that trade. Even though I was here sitting at the desk, I wasn't ready. So again, this is the first time, but this has to be the last time. Not something I accept for myself. Being late, not happening, not done. Regardless, after missing the trade, I was looking for if we will try to flush it and go for a second entry, and then that's how we got here. But then my plan clearly says that PMI at 10 a.m. Literally wrote in the plan 8:30 jobless claims, 10 a.m. PMI, and here we are at 9:59. 9:59, where I completely forget that there's PMI coming at 10, and I take this trade, and of course, through my own merits, I get stopped out. A little bit of whipsaw moment because the book is so thin as soon as the news come out. The news comes out, we whiplash here, I get stopped out, and as soon as I got stopped out and I saw with this whiplash, it came to me, okay, it's at 10 a.m., it's PMI, and I was really upset with myself at this point of time because it just ripped straight from the level to here, and then there was nothing for me to do anywhere here. But right when it comes down to the level again, it's literally the same thing as ES, because we came down with uh, rather sharp selling, and then again the wix is obviously at the highest, and now I'm again in that state whether I should take it or not, and it's the same as ES, where the selling is not at the bottom where it's getting absorbed, but it's at the top. But of course we had this nice little push. It's not at the extreme, so even though I did see it, I kind of let it go away. But I think that was my fault here. Again, it was not in the sense of losing objectivity for emotions or the fear of not being wrong. At least that's how I see today. Cannot be sure, but as an objective observer of my emotions, and I do not shy from calling myself when I do stupid shit. So today, as I said, it was perplexing to me how things were unfolding, and again, it just came an exhaustive push right into the level. It stopped. Spent some time here. Definitely didn't even try to look underneath the level as such. Maybe a few points, a few ticks, whatever. And yeah, the wicks was high. The push, the selling was strong, and I did not take it. And it went. My target was 360, or like somewhere around this high. Now that we have made this high, obviously just ended up in the next zone, and I completely messed up, or at least not messed up because I did not actually understand, but in a way, I did miss a planned trade, not on purpose, not because of any fear, but whatever it is, I did end up not taking this the best trade for the day, and then at least I sat patiently for the entire day. I did not take any stupid trades here, even though they were probably good trades to have had here. Definitely good prices to have had here, especially as the ES was holding what it was supposed to be holding over its morning high. So, but since I'm not taking any continuation plays, absolutely fine. Doesn't really matter if I missed it here. That was the end of it, and then we came right up at the top, and that's where I tried the two shots, quick scalps, which actually ended up working. So it was the first test of this level that I wanted to be shot from. If we come up, I did not write it in the plan because I did not expect that we would come up, but it did end up coming up. took two quick trades here. First on this rejection, second on this rejection, both for one for a 16 point and another for a 20 point gain. The first one was a 13-point loss, so ended up net positive on the day, roughly 18, 19 points or something like that. Whatever, doesn't matter. So these were good trades in a sense that it was at the level and how I would take a trade normally, but there was some. I had a very minute VIX divergence kind of going on with it making a little bit higher highs, but in the entire context of the day, it really doesn't matter as much because it's pretty much at the lows of the day. But there's this very short term, very quick, very scalpy sort of thing. Even though I would say this is not as reliable in the shortest term as I'd probably see it here. And then there was this sort of delta divergence where the price is going up, but the net cumulative delta is not that strong. And that was when I decided to put risk on, and that was what ended up working. So I took a 16 pointer here, 12 or 20 pointer here. This was a proper to do one, so which is good. I still got a little bit greedy as it came to me. 2 to 1, a little bit greedy. It went past a little bit 2 to 1, and I wanted to squeeze a little bit more, and then as it was pulling back, I just cut it at 2 to 1. So I did not take the opportunity when I had to get a little bit more, and then ended up getting what I wanted to. But still, it's not a good way to cut or to take profits. And then same with the second time, I was uncomfortable in both the trades. It's still a function of me not completely accepting the risk. I put my stop losses, but putting in stop losses doesn't mean that I've completely accepted the fact that I'm going to lose. So it's still a little bit of function of that. Regardless, I set up a new rule yesterday where I take profits at 2 to 1, or I do not take them. I did that for the first one, and for the second one, I had a 12-point stop loss, so I needed 24 points, but I cut it at 20. So I tried to push through the uncomfortable. I did not push it all the way through, and even though the stats would normally say that I should, it was again in some context, but obviously, as I'm saying, I was uncomfortable. That emotional context doesn't go away, but it was in the context of the thing being so strong that it tried to push down, and it's been one time framing up since D period. So D, E, F, G, H takes out by 2 ticks, but who cares? Still H, I, J, K, and it's just going up, and we are here in L 5 periods if you consider since H, 9 if you consider since D. We just continuously making higher highs, higher lows. So it was that counter trend trade in that sense, and since we are up here, and then that strength is absolutely incredible. I expected a spike since we are just right here, and it did end up spiking, and then this is where I take the trade right here after it spikes. And yeah, so when I was looking for those, but the reason I cut that for 20 points, like I wasn't expecting that, or maybe it was in my mind that maybe MPD doesn't take out all these this low, DL's low, or at least doesn't go all the way up to here. Like, since it's been so strong, that was my idea that maybe it stops somewhere here, and rather than let it go all back, I just decided to cut it for 24. Obviously, to cut it for 20, it ended up going for 36 points from my entry. But yeah, that's me being uncomfortable, but it's a process. I recognize it, I understand it, and with these small steps, a little bit more uncomfortable every day, I will get through it. Maybe today I sat until 20, tomorrow I will sit until at least 2 to 1 for sure, no matter what. This was again just that little bit of conflict between my understanding of time. Like it's towards the end of the day, it's in the end period where anything can happen. So it's being cognizant of what I know of market analysis, market understanding, but also understanding that if I want my edge to work, it works over sample size, and there is no picking and choosing within my edge. Some areas that I need to work on, regardless. Rather unusual day, but still, definitely I was late, unacceptable. But putting that aside, putting that I missed the news aside, still a decent day. Not just because I ended up green, but yeah. To be honest, I don't know how I should rate myself today. Maybe we'll see tomorrow. Anyways, awesome.